So how have you changed the things that you've been focusing on post COVID? How have things changed or yeah?
Yeah, so COVID's an interesting thing for programmers. I'm essentially, you asked me to describe my role in life. I'm a hacker. I'm a hacker in the traditional sense. Everything I look at, I go, I think that could be done better. And sometimes I'm wrong, and I build something and it's terrible, and I go, okay, that's harder than I thought. And sometimes it actually goes okay. And and here's the thing about COVID. For most of the programmers out there will get this, or mathematicians or physicists, someone who's involved in their work.
Mhm.
I'm going to go on my keyboard here, but you can't really see. But I'm tap 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 coding away, looking down, and someone opens my door and says, "What do you think about the COVID crisis?" What? Oh, okay.
What?
Then I go back to work. So I got to be honest. The only thing that's happened, and it sounds terrible because I know there's tremendous suffering out there, and I'm very sensitive to that. Genuinely, it's a horrible thing. But I got to be 100% honest because I think that's the only way you can be in life, and that is my productivity has doubled or tripled. I'm not driving anywhere. I'm not in moving around the city to different meetings. So the the friction of getting things done, of transport, of travel, of getting on a plane, getting to a hotel, giving a speech, whatever, any of those things, that's all been taken away. And
Mhm.
I think it's a little bit of sensationalism, but Jack Dorsey announced, the employees of Twitter from now on can just work at home. And I think historically there's been a reluctance of management, quite frankly, to say we trust our people enough that they can work from wherever. And we can't do that. It has to be like rowers in a Roman ship that are being whipped in parallel to get through the day.
Yeah.
Uh, what's changed probably since, and I'm very old, just remember that. So what's changed, I would say, in the last couple of decades is that we used to have this concept of the supervisor, which comes from supervision. It's a military term, being up on the hill, like in the Napoleonic Wars, and you have supervision, you would direct the action. But what has happened is, technology, life, and not just technology, arts, dance, theater, everything has bifurcated so much that the domain expert long since passed the supervisor for probably 20 years now. And management theories just started to catch up with that, where they go, here's the task we need to get done. And so that's their role, really, to describe clearly the goal and the constraints to achieve that goal, and offer support and guidance and facilities, but basically not hang over your shoulder and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Because quite frankly, for the most part, they actually wouldn't understand if you told them. And I know that's a bit harsh, but I'm sure in your own life, you've had this experience many times where you've done what you considered your best work. Someone that you kind of respected, and it can be a parent or aunt, uncle, teacher, comes over. What are you doing? And you had to dumb it down to a level so low that it's an awakening moment where you go, wow, I actually know more than this mentor of mine. And
Yeah.
and so being a young scientist, you've probably witnessed this yourself a few times. Uh, but that historically was not the case. And we've had to, I think, in business, shift from being supervisors to more like conductors,
Right.
where you set the pace and when the score starts and when it ends, but you may not, you likely are not a master at all the instruments that your orchestra has. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Work is getting ever more complex.
Complex, and quite frankly, the respect for that talent. So
Right.
if Jeff Hinton, at U of T and at Google and Vector Institute, if he said, you know what, I think I could do my best work uh, in Chad. Well, guess what? There'd be the Jeff Hinton Institute for AI in Chad sometime tomorrow afternoon. Because it's clear that you, you know at, he is at a skill level
Mm.
that whatever allows him to achieve the things he's going to achieve, we as a society need to support.